The interview that we're going to be doing later on is from a client of mine. It'll be our first meeting together. She is a 55-year-old African American with two children, 16 and 10. She's single. She was reported to the agency about a month ago as being homeless and using drugs. Um, we have investigated her to this point with our intake unit and found that she did test positive for one of the drug tests with cocaine, and the children have been taken to the grandmother for while they're living there. During this interview, I will be using such techniques as open-ended questions. I will do some prompting, minimal prompting that is, and I'll use some containment, along with other skills such as letting her tell a story and actually letting her know that I'm listening by different cues, agreements, and things of that nature. So the next time you see me, we'll be conducting the interview with my client. Ms. Martin, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you coming in for this time. All of those difficulties we had for you getting here, but it's good to see that you finally made it. How are you doing this evening?
Hi, Mr. Smith. Yeah, I guess I'm glad I'm here. I think I don't think I'm supposed to be here.
You don't?
No.
Well, that's, why do you think that?
According to the letter that I got from you, you think I'm not homeless and I don't use drugs.
Okay, then the reports that we got are therefore incorrect.
I agree.
Okay, then why don't you tell me your story? How did we get to this point?
Because my girlfriend got mad at me. There was a little disagreement and she got mad at me. She did ask me to leave, but I'm not homeless. I ended up back at my mom's for a while. And she just reported me because she's mad. That's why you guys are involved. Me and my kids are fine.
Well, there seems to be somewhat of a conflict because your mother says that she doesn't want you staying there. And we had the kids put there for their safety and you weren't supposed to be living there. Is that the case or not?
That was before. Mom is fine with it now. Me and Mom, we don't necessarily get along. I agree. We've had some issues. Like, she takes it out on me, but we have past issues. It's not the first time I've been involved with services. I've been in and out of the system now since I was about 8. So she gets mad about that, but it's her fault. We're getting along now. I'm not homeless and I don't use drugs. So I don't know why I'm here.
All right, then let's go back to when you were 8. How have you been living since then?
When I was sexually molested, I was molested by a family member, and I feel like my family didn't do anything about it. So the agency came and they got involved and they took me out of the home. So I was in a foster care for quite a few years, and when my mom finally got me back when I was about 11. So granted, we didn't always get along. I agree with that. We always didn't get along. But my mom, she just got too many rules and regulations. Some of that stuff is just not realistic. It's just not realistic. So I was back out. By the time I graduated high school, I was back out.
You said that when you were molested by the family members, the family didn't support you. That's what I heard. That must have been quite traumatic for you.
Well, I was only 8, but I don't want to talk about that. I just.
What type of argument did you have with your friend to get us to this point? The friend that put you out?
She wanted me to pay more, But I don't feel like I should have to pay more money. She's out there doing stuff too, and I don't have extra money to pay her bills. These are her bills. We had an agreement. She wanted more, and she said I'm messing around and I was doing drugs, and I'm not. I'm just not. And then she just mad. That's all. That's why she called y'all.
What kind of stuff are you referring to?
That she does?
Yes.
Well, I mean, she drinks, she parties, she swings on a pole, and she criticizes me. I got my kids, me and my kids are there. I mean, we're only sleeping in one room. I feel like
How long were you with this friend?
we were there almost a year.
And before that?
What do you mean?
Where were you living before you moved with her?
Well, I was with one of the children's father, but that went south. He's in jail now, so we had to make different plans.
So what have you done in the last year living with your friend to get stable housing for yourself and your children?
Well, I was working, but then I got laid off. But I have a job coming. I have a job coming up. I'm working with the government, the city government, and the mayor's office has a program that can get, people like low income and that I fit the criteria for. So that job is pending. So once I get that job, then I can get into my own place. We just need a little bit of time to kind of get restabilized. But the kids are fine. We're fine. They're with my mom. I have a job that's coming, so I'm okay.
Well, that might be how you see this, but unfortunately, you have to have current housing now. You can't just say, that the job is pending, you have to have employment now. So until then, the agency won't allow the children and you to be together until,
You don't have any proof that I was doing anything. I mean, okay, that has to be a false positive on that test. So you can't just take my kids from me. The kids are fine. They're going to school. They're with my mom. And you saying what? I can't stay there with my mom with my kids? What am I supposed to do?
that is not my decision, whether you can stay there with your mother or not. She says that she doesn't want you there. So, that's totally up to her. And at this particular point, we're gonna do some more testing just to see that, because if you say that you weren't, then we'll test again, and if you weren't, then it'll show negative.
So where am I supposed to go?
Where are you currently?
I'm just with another friend, but that's just temporarily. That's just because, I was going to talk to my mom. I'm sure me and my mom could work it out, and I could just stay with her and the kids.
Okay, if your mother doesn't agree that you should stay there, what we can do, provided that all other circumstances fit, such as you're not being positive for drugs, we can see if we can get you into temporary housing shelter. We have a FMC place in Chester where we can put you there, and otherwise you're going to have to remain with a friend until we can get things a little bit better function.
All right, well, I'll do the testing. I heard about this shelter. Fine. Just do what you want. That's fine. That's
Okay,
fine.
well, fine. I'm glad we come into some kind of agreement. So we're going to set up a meeting for next week at 10 o'clock, Tuesday morning. Will you be able to make that?
I'll be here.
Great, Ms.
I'll be
Martin.
here.
It was nice talking to you, and I hope we can work these things out. Look forward to doing
All right,
this with
Mr.
you.
Smith. You call and remind me, okay?
I shall do that.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.